Well, good. Let me check to make sure this is on. Okay. Excuse me for the interruptions. Anyway, good morning. It's Zen Live here in Blackstone, Virginia. Good morning, Blackstone. Remember the Good Morning Vietnam? Well, I feel like that a little bit sometimes. But then you are Blackstone's the center of the world. I'm the center of the world. But then you too are the center of the world. Did you know, and this is a great metaphor, but this is a computer and this is the center of the internet. If the internet's a brain, this is the center of it. The whole brain of the internet is in here. But this is the access to the brain. So the brain and the computer, the internet and the computer interact creatively. So this is the center of the internet. But its location is everywhere. So your cell phone is the center of the internet. Every cell phone is the center of the universe, of the internet universe, you see. And it's a creative relationship. It's not a passive one where you just get information coming in passively like TV used to be. TV used to be the viewer of TV was the passive consumer. You sat there and watched TV and it just came into you. And this was the glory of advertising and corporate and consumerism. You just consumed information. You just consumed subliminal advertising that made you go out and buy stuff you didn't need. It was a great system. But then this came along. And now the paradigm has changed. See, now the you, if this is a metaphor for you, is now a creator of the universe. You are the creator / created. The computer, the cell phone here, creates the internet by adding to it, changing it, whatever. But then the internet creates it. So it's like the artist who creates an art and the art changes him. Well, you can look at it at a wider angle and say, well, Steve Jobs created this, and then this created us. We've all been created by Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs is the St. Paul, of social media. Ever think about that? And Apple is the Catholic Church. No, there are other little churches, but that's the big one. And this is the sacrament. So you have to get a sacrament in order to get the grace of the church internet, you see, and become a player. And we're all becoming players now, and this is unusual because it's really, we're uncharted territory. The paradigm has changed, and we like it. We like interacting. We like tweeting and telling the newscaster he's full of crap. We like video. We like uploading our video. Wherever we are, we're a newspaper reporter. Wherever we are the internet. I'm running around with this. I'm the media, and I can report something, and it's global if it's a good one. And you can even make money doing that. We love it. We don't know where it's going to go, though. It's uncharted. Something's out of the bag. Something's out of the box. We don't know what it'll do. It's a brave new world, you see. But this really is a metaphor, an electronic metaphor for our life. So when Krishnamurti says, you are the world and the world is you, you are the center of the world, you see, that's real, where this is an abstraction of that. So we've created in our electronic internet, electronic brain, cell phone access, cell phone sacraments that bring down the power of the internet into our hand, you see. That is a proxy. That is an alternative, electronic alternative to a reality that we're not living in. So we run to the internet and get a cell phone because it gives us the illusion that we are a creator. a creator and the created, you see. We are creators. But we only activate that or experience it here. We don't experience it in our family, in our jobs. We don't experience it in our relationships, you see. We don't experience it as me in the world, you see. We don't experience it in real time as me. We experience it alternatively in a proxy way, you see, here. So naturally everybody's got their face in this thing here because I'm kind of like free here. I can go anywhere. I can learn anything. I can do anything. I can be entertained. I can get angry. I could be outraged. I was writing today from this site that reports what's being hit on. What is the global brain? What is the church membership? What's everybody hitting on? And outrage gets the most attention. Everybody is passing outrage around. We love being outraged. So we post stuff. Aren't you? Isn't that outrageous? And everybody, yes, I'm so outraged. And so now, wow, my outrage is validated, and we're all outraged together. So this is kind of like, for many of us, it's the outrage church. We feel alive when we're outraged, you see, and we can express it on here. Anyway, what are we talking about today? Breaking out is hard to do. So we'll try. Okay, so I'll bring up my favorite metaphor again. An emu egg. I thought it was ostrich, but it's emu. A friend of mine had emus, and he gave me this, and I love it. Breaking out is hard to do. What is this thing here? But culture. And now by culture, I've been talking about this, and I have to re-explain it again because people drop in. I don't know who's sitting out here. I don't know who I'm talking to. By the way, I wish you would comment on these talks. I know I get a lot of viewers, but just a few people comment. And I'm really doing this talk to motivate questions. I'm really here not to just be a park barker, a soapbox guy standing in the park where people come by and listen and then walk on, And I am like that, I guess. I'm kind of like standing in an internet park talking and people come by and I can see how many people are on there, but I can't right now because I'm looking at the back of the iPod. But anyway, I'm inviting you to ask questions about the talk, or say it's full of crap, or say that's interesting, or that's have a question, because if you don't have a question, you're not really here. And I don't mean here in this talk now. I mean in life. You have questioning, curiosity. What does that mean? What does that mean? What's the truth here? I want to know. If that question isn't in you, well, then you're just a passive observer of life. You just, that's interesting, and then what else is new? And you go along. It's all inside the egg. But if you want to break out, the beak of breaking out is the question. The chick's beak breaks out from the inside. You can't break in from the outside. The inside is weak. It breaks out, you see. But you have to peck at it. So I'm inviting you to peck, to ask a question and get a dialogue going, you see. I love dialogue. Dialogue is a conduit to understanding. Dialogue is breaking out. And why don't we break out? Breaking out is hard to do. Well, the more I investigate into culture and the shell of culture in which we live in now, and yesterday we talked about, or maybe last night, I don't know, but the shooting at Las Vegas is it's like we're reaching a saturation point of we can't take this anymore. Enough is enough. We've got to do something. But then the shell comes back, the NRA comes back and says, wait, this is not the right time to talk about breaking out of the shell. This is not the right time about that. And besides that, you need guns in there. You need guns inside there, because guns protect your freedom. Guns, the Second Amendment. You need that because the shell is your enemy. The shell is trying to shoot you. You need guns to shoot back. What is the shell? Well, the government's the shell. The government's trying to take your guns away, your freedom away. So you need guns to fight off the government. What's the government? It's the shell. So we're all inside this shell of culture. Government is culture, along with religion and the NRA and all of it. The whole catastrophe is culture. If you know anything, it's culture. The unknown is outside of culture. We don't know what's out there. The chick doesn't know what's out there when he breaks out, but he breaks out. The caterpillar doesn't know what a butterfly is, but he breaks out. We don't know what it's like outside of culture. So we don't break out because we're afraid of the unknown. So we're enculturated back inside the egg, and we're all arming ourselves. And of course, the tension of this war with the shell, this tension of this internal strife, you see, makes some people go crazy. And they break out through death. And the more death you can get, the bigger you feel the breakout is. But it's insane. Because when you break out through death, you're not there to see that you broke out. It's kind of like, I'm going to break out, you see, but I won't be here to know that I broke out. So that's insane. So there's something else going on, you see. See, this is the problem with the mass shooting like this, is that there's no motive in it. That's understandable with culture. Culture can't understand it. Why? Because culture goes on pleasure-pain principle. You don't do anything unless you get pleasure out of it or avoid pain, you see. So there's a motivation, a cause. You can understand that cause. You can figure out what people are doing. But a mass shooter or a terrorist, you see, gets no fame. Well, he's famous in the paper. Yeah, but he doesn't know it. And there's no pleasure in the act of shooting. It's a compulsion. So these mass shooting things that break out reminds me of Vietnam, where you had to kill more and more people to get a body count so you could win. That was the most striking thing about the Ken Burns documentary, is that, well, the only way we can know we're winning is if we kill more people than they kill us. So we have to kill more people. A mass shooting. And to count the bodies. So Las Vegas was the best one yet. Wow, it's like ratings. The movie comes out. Oh, it got made so much money. That's the best movie because it made more money than the other movies. So this is the best mass shooting yet. Wow, 50. Well, somebody else will come along and say, well, I'm going to beat that. Well, anyway, so we're talking about breaking out. And what holds us in? What holds us in the shell of shame? The shell of shame and guilt. Let's put it that way. Culture holds us in through shaming and guilting. And that begins at childhood. That begins with the parents, who are the delivery systems of culture, right? The baby comes in, he's like a little chick, the baby is not culturated. Infants have no culture. The parents are the delivery system of culture, and they're going to deliver the culture that they have been enculturated. So if they're enculturated in shame and guilt, what will people think? They're going to unconsciously enculturate the child. And then he will grow up in the shell of shame and guilt and pass it on to his children. The egg keeps getting laid over and over again. The egg of shame and guilt. And it begins at the first toddler age, where the toddler, whose DNA, who is programmed by nature to explore and grow his brain through exploration. You see, exploration grows the brain. It doesn't grow if you don't explore. It doesn't grow. We don't grow unless we explore and break out. You see, exploring is breaking out of the egg. Exploring is asking questions. So if you put this on the table, And suppose I put this on the table and a toddler comes in. He's programmed to see that. Oh, he's like a little cat, there's something new in the room. Oh, and he goes right towards it. And he wants to pick it up and explore it. Now, children explore through sensory motor. Lick it, taste it, smell it, feel it, shake it, you see. That's exploring. So this is sitting on the table, and the mother says, "Don't touch that." And so boom, his exploring is bam, bam, he's hit, you see. And then he looks at the mother, because he's programmed to obey the mother, but he's also programmed to explore. Now he's got a contradiction. The mother says, "Don't explore." But I have to explore to grow my brain. But the mother says, "Don't." So he threads the needle and does both at the same time. He looks at the mother, "Yes, I'm looking at you," and he reaches over and touches it. And the mother explodes. "I told you not to touch that. You disobeyed me, you wacko." Now, the mother is driven by shame and guilt. What will people think if my child doesn't obey me? What will people think if I have an unsocialized child? I got to share this. I remember it last night. Had a birthday party here, and I was talking about this. And I remember my mother. I grew up in a Navy family. My father was a naval officer. And in the Navy family, among the officers, you have the officers' wives. And the captain's wife is the queen hen, you see. And all the other wives are kind of like subordinate. And they all have their little teas and parties and all of that. And so she went to the dinner the tea of the captain's wife. And so and I think my father was a lieutenant, And so my mother's, she's white gloves. This is back in the 40s, 30s, late 30s, I don't know. And so the captain's wife, and I'm a little toddler, and she says, "Oh, you're a cute little son of a gun." And my mother says, I said, "Well, you're a son of a bitch." So I can just imagine my mother's shame and guilt. Oh, just going white. As white as the gloves she wore. Shame and guilt. This is the glue that keeps us in the egg. We all feel somewhat unworthy, and then we have to prove ourselves. If shame and guilt is enculturated, and it's enculturated in all of us, with the sense of not being worthy. So if you feel like you're not worthy, you have to show people you're worthy. So you're going to be a superachiever. And how do you measure your wealth? Well, how do you measure your worthiness? You see, well, there's different ways you measure it. Fame, wealth. Trump is a good example of somebody who is tries to overcome his shame and guilt by becoming the wealthiest person or living in the gold tower or whatever, you see. You can see it all there on Trump, you see. But anyway, the point is that in culture makes us feel something is missing. So naturally, we're programmed to be good consumers so we can buy the stuff that the advertising promises to make us fulfilled, you see. But it never does. So just watch advertising from that point of view. And you can see these, and they keep getting better and better. I mean, advertising is an evolving technology, The food gets better looking. The advertising is more subtle because they have to keep inventing new ways of getting the message in because we become indoctrinated or bored with it or defense mechanism closes down, you see. So they have to have new ways to slip the message in, you see. So just watch the commercials from that point of view. Last night we were watching NCIS. So you got a little space of entertainment that opens you up, you get involved, and as soon as you get and it's designed so that at the peak moment when you're right there, closes down, the message comes in, boom. And now you see these, I think it was like entertainment between drugs and food. And they would show the food that if you ate all that stuff, you were going to need the drugs that were in the next commercial. It's very clever. Eat all this stuff, huge hamburgers, I don't know, God knows, piled up. Nom, 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 eat that. And then the next commercial was the drugs that were going to handle the effects of eating all that food, you see. And then you have drugs to handle the effects of the previous drugs. And so on we go. We're enculturated. And basically the thing that keeps us in the shell is this sense of being unworthy, you see. Shame and guilt. And our sense of exploration has been spanked. Don't ask questions. Don't explore. Don't question. Just stay within and enjoy the culture. Of course, it's getting kind of hot in this little shell now. People are shooting, more and more people. Suicides are up, opiates, drugs. Everybody's trying to get out of culture by staying in culture. Nobody asks the questions that questions culture, just like nobody in a church will ask questions that questions the assumptions of the church. You don't dare ask a question that questions the assumptions of the religion. Well, you'll be tossed out in a minute. In the Middle Ages, you got burned. So anyway, thanks for dropping in, and we'll continue this quest, this search for the crack in the cosmic egg. See you this evening at Martini time.